Welcome to the RSP Boiler Room. I'm Matt Waldman with the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. We're going to take a semi-deep dive into Ahmmon Richards' tape. He's a sophomore, rising junior out of the University of Miami, and he's a player that many consider one of the better prospects at the position for the 2019 NFL Draft if he elects to come out. Now, there's some really nice things about his game, but we're going to explore some of the things that he needs to get better at during the 2019 season and probably 2020 and beyond as he gets into the NFL, as long as everything continues to work out in the trajectory that most people project. So here he is against off coverage. You're going to see a nice double move here with a hard step. You get the drop of the hips right here. Good job doing that. Very good job of turning back to look at the quarterback to sell that double move. This is a very effective double move. It baits the defensive back to actually kind of stop his feet and maybe even move up a bit as he works outside. But as he works outside, you can see here he's got to step on his man. But you'd like to see him actually cut off his man a little bit more, stack him, buy back more of this flat. And if he does that, it gives him maybe a little bit more room to actually come back to the ball and own that sideline a little bit easier. Now the ball's already in the air in this particular case, so it wasn't a vital thing here. Now it's more just about tracking and catching, and he does that very well, getting his hands up, being able to track over his shoulder, getting both feet in bounds. So it's a nice play. You get to see some nice elements of really how fluid and flexible he is, the hand-eye coordination, the understanding of the boundary here. The only criticism I might have is that in tighter coverage, if the defender, say, is an NFL caliber defender who's tight to him on this play, if he leaves his feet like this and jumps as opposed to dragging, the defender's going to be able to knock him out of bounds before his feet ever come down to touch the ground. So he's got to get better at, rather than punctuating his feet in bounds where he's tapping like this, he needs to drag them as he's running through to the catch point and keeping his feet further to the ground. This is another double move, same type of move, bottom right on the screen, but this time the defender's playing tight. Uses a chop move, turns back to look to the ball, nice leaping catch, turns away to shield the defender from the ball. It's really nice. So let's take a look at it up close, because there's some good things and some things that are kind of foreshadowing for what he needs to work on. The good, is going to be at the catch point. The foreshadowing, well, watch the chop. Now, it was quick. It had a little snap to it, but it had really no violence whatsoever. And that's something that we're going to have to look at when we talk about him facing man coverage, especially physical man coverage from NFL caliber cornerbacks. But you like, again, turning back to look at the quarterback to sell that hitch, a good acceleration downfield, and he tries to kind of stack a little bit or cut off so that he can buy the inside a little bit more and get a little more room to the outside. Nice job getting the hands up. You can see he's got that technique down pretty good. He can get the fingertips together a little bit better there, but I like how he turns away as soon as he catches the ball to try and shield the man. He's able to get both feet in bounds. Where Richards struggles, man coverage, physical man coverage, and you're going to see here against McFadden, the corner. See how McFadden kind of jabbed his arm out? He gets jammed, and he drops the ball. We're going to watch it up close here and see a couple of things that really are important. One is that the defender's already tipped off that he's going to jam him. I mean, look, he threw the jab basically with the inside arm right off the line. This should signal to Richards that it's going to happen, so he should be ready for this. But McFadden's already knows what kind of move Richards is going to throw on him, because all we ever see Richards throw is basically an arm over chop move, as opposed to a swim or any type of rip or swipe. So dipping his shoulders more. The only thing he varies is his footwork. He has a rocker step. He has some 3 and 4 step footwork moves. That's about it. He has a little bit of a shake move. So he's got to develop a greater repertoire. And when he does develop it, he has to have some violence to it. Even when he's throwing a predictable move, this doesn't have much of a chop to it. I mean, he slaps the arm down, but part of the problem is that he didn't anticipate McFadden jamming him, even though McFadden tipped it off. And McFadden gets his arm right into the chest and really close to the throat here and forces Richards upward a little bit. So when Richards tries to bring that arm down, you can see it's landed on the bicep here rather than really at that elbow, the crook of the elbow, and he's just basically disrupted all the way through. As a result, McFadden's able to slide in there and get his hand across the jersey number and knock the ball loose before Richards really can even get his hands on it. So you got to see some variation. You want to see more violence here. And even if he does get disrupted, he still has the leverage to turn in his back to McFadden and force a situation where McFadden would have to play through him because he'd get position turning his back to him and posting him up, and that could create an interference call or a holding call. But instead, he's just completely off kilter with this particular play. And we see this throughout this game where whenever he's facing McFadden in man coverage, the ball's getting knocked away. He's not able to get separation. When they start playing cover 2 or giving him the zone, this is when he gets open in this game. So he's going to have to show that he can win against NFL caliber athletes and prospects in man coverage. This is another example against Syracuse. You're going to see him top right, twin right, running a slant against inside shade. And you think he gets this catch, but it's again 3-step move or 4-step move, chop. Not a very violent chop. You're going to see up close in a minute. Looks like he makes the catch. He gets his hands above his head to catch the ball, and they're a little bit away from his body. Elbows are bent, though. We're going to talk about that. And the defender's able to knock the ball loose at the very end of this route. And he didn't hold on to it long enough for the officials to give him credit for it. And here's some problems with that. One is the defender knows the chop is coming. Whatever the icing is with the footwork, whatever, there's the chop. Chop just kind of rests on the arm of the defender. There's no violence to it. It has to be a violent move. You got to see the arm of that defender move down or move away. There's got to be a real strike there. It's not. The defender has the advantage all the way because Richards never nullified the defender's position. And then when the ball arrives, the arms, see how he doesn't have his arms even fully extended? He didn't extend them fully. He had them just kind of bent here. Because they weren't fully extended, what you're winding up seeing is that he catches the ball just above his chest. But he doesn't catch him away from his chest. He doesn't use his reach in his back to actually create position where the defender cannot get his hands on the ball. Sammy Watkins did this extremely well on some tape that I showed in one of my NFL Lens series on the Rookie Scouting Portfolio website, www.mattwaldmanrsp.com. This is not an example of that. He has to attack the ball. So be more physical, take the initiative, attack the ball. You do that, you have a greater chance of not having a defender knock the ball away like what you see right here. So Ahmmon Richards, talented player, really a talented athlete at this stage. He's got potential to become a player. When we talk about players, it's how they're defined through the NFL lens. He's not there yet, but he's at a point at this stage of his career where he still has some development ahead. We may see enough improvement this year with some of the things that were just mentioned that he could raise his profile. He already has a pretty high profile in the eyes of a lot of draft nicks, but when it comes to what you look at for the NFL game, there's still some work to do. Thanks again for watching. For more RSP Boiler Room videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, the RSP Film Room, and my blog, www.mattwaldmanrsp.com.